Alright guys, so we already have a couple people on. We'll go ahead and get started. You're really crowding me, Tyree. Give me a little push. So, what are some things that you can do at home instead of just, not doing anything at all? So, Tyreezy is going to start on that topic.
Okay, so I would say first try to get a few things for your house, whether it's dumbbells, just a bar so you can do things like thrusters or back squats, but get a few cheap things like kettlebells, light dumbbells with it. First thing, my arms are locked out. I'm not starting here and I'm not sagging. Make sure you're keeping a tight core. Your hips aren't too low, too high, because then you're loading in the wrong direction. If my hips are too high, I'm pressing the weight forward like this. If my hips are too low, well then I'm not getting all my body weight. Find a nice, good position with tight core. Chest touches the floor. Back up.
Chest touches the floor.
90% of people will want to do push-ups out here, which is much harder. So, one, you're loading your shoulder, which you're putting all of your weight in your shoulder and you're not using any triceps. Two, it's also harder to get my chest to touch the floor if I'm out here. So, one thing I always tell people to do is I'll stand like right in front of them and tell them to push me. And the first thing people do to push is this. They don't push you away up here, but this is what people do with push-ups.
Something I would do is like intervals of 10 push-ups, 10 air squats with like a 20-second heel sprint, and repeat that for 20 minutes. And that sounds really yucky, but yeah, all of that can be done literally in a parking lot. Like, I do that type of thing in my parking lot all the time. If you don't want to get all the way on the ground, one thing I do a lot of times is I'll do push-ups off of like a curb, or push-ups off of like the parking stuff. What are those things called? You know what I'm talking about? It's not a speed bump, but it's at like the front of the parking space. Yeah. You are not going to get a bigger butt or bigger thighs or get thick from doing a bunch of body weight stuff.
Or 95 pounds. I don't know why everybody loves that number, that.
In order to get thick, you have to build muscle. I get a little confused when people talk about how they want to get thick, and when we talk about weightlifting, they talk about how they don't want to get bulky. And I'm like, when people get thick, what do you think grows? Like, I think some people may think that, like, it has to be muscle. You don't want it to be fat.